Hey you guys, what's up? Good morning. I'm Yalek, and in today's Boom Beach video, I wanted to talk about the difference between RCZM and HRCZM. So RCZM is Rifle Cryo Zuka Medic. HRCZM is the same, except you swap out one boat of rifles for a boat of heavy. Let's turn the game sounds down. So RCZM would go with the 3 boats of rifles, and HRCZM would be the same except looking like this. I like to use Everspark with critters with this combination because the critters provide a bunch of distraction. You can use Everspark with remote and still take advantage of her passive critter ability. You'll see a lot of the leaderboard players doing that, and the remote starts to come into play in the second half of the attack. Maybe at higher levels that would be necessary for me to switch to, because later on in an attack it gets expensive to do things, so having the ability to remove a tower relatively cheaply would be important for them, especially against big ice bases. But for me, at this level anyway, I don't use troop health. I don't need that statue, and I go with the critter swarm. So I have had a bunch of success with this. I was on this when we started because I did want to say I've just been mowing people down with this. I've had a couple chances over the past week while we've had this tribe cycle to do warrior rushes, which is a nice change of pace. I've had 1 or 2 heavy Zuka hits. I tried Grens on one guy, and I'm bad with Grens, so that's why that didn't work, but in theory it should have been a base where Grens with bullet should have worked well. But it didn't for me, so I said screw it, and I just went back to my old standby, which in this case was RCZM with the modification of a boat of heavies thrown in. So, I will start by saying that these tribe cycles are not insanely overpowered like some of the ones we have had recently. The Gren speed tribe was ridiculous. The GBE gain tribe was ridiculous. Rifle damage is always a powerful thing. We do have a couple things going on, I will say, that do help RCZM, not immensely, but they're more like little nudges. They're much more reasonable boosts than we have had recently. First of all, this artillery cost reduction I do have maxed, and that is a very, very nice thing. For me, the cost of artillery goes up by 1 each time. Starts at 2, so the next one is 3, the next one is 4. That is a really, really nice bonus. Not super overpowered, but does make everything a little bit easier. I do have Zuka health going on. Not a huge deal with the RCZM, actually much better with my heavy Zuka hits, especially on my 48 now account, because I can tank a mine and survive that where I wouldn't have in the past. But with the RCZM, you're really, if your Zukas are coming under attack, you're in trouble. So that's not a huge benefit, it's a small benefit, but and the medic speed. So with medic speed, we are getting some additional medic healing. So that is nice for RCZM, but not a huge bonus. So there are a few little things working together to make this a great combination right now, but nothing majorly overpowering like we have seen in the past. And yet it works, and it works almost exclusively, as I've said, minus a few hits here and there that I've done just for a change of pace. So I'm going to show you very quickly. I've been switching off between these two, HRCZM, HRCZM, RCZM, RCZM, HRCZM, RCZM, RCZM, just like interchangeably. And the thing that occurred to me is that some people might not understand why you would do that in one circumstance or another. So very quickly, I'm going to show you 2 hits that are no ice bases. So first we're going to start with Juju, who is a 62, and we went with RCZM. I'm going to show you these 2 quickly because they're no ice bases, so they're very easy bases. You should be able to beat them with pretty much anything, but obviously this is my go-to combination. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on these 2, and then we'll move on to guys with the ice. So with Juju here, he had no ice. There was a mortar on the beach, so that might have tempted me. Had there been more area damage kind of towers around that, that might have tempted me to go with a Boda Heavy. But in this case, it's just the one mortar, where since he has no ice, we're going to be able to destroy his range towers very easily. And then that leaves us with this combination here, his blaster, his Doom, and these two rocket launchers, which are all clustered together and very easily managed with a single shock over and over and over again. So in that case, with just one mortar and a machine gun here to deal with, I opted to go with the straight RCZM combo because I don't need the extra protection of the heavies here. I can just distract things easily with critters and be done with it, and then just try to avoid losing the stay to the front of the base and avoid the hot pot entirely. So in that case, that was my thinking. I didn't really need the heavies, which are there more for a case where you're expecting to take a bunch of fire as you begin your attack. Again, no ice here with Drew. Oh, actually, no, we wanted that faster, not off. No ice with Drew. Now, Drew has spread out his range towers a good bit more. I could probably have gone RCZM on this, because being able to destroy 4 of the range towers with my GBE, which I could safely do because that just leaves this one range tower. I can get mortars and machine guns and things like that in its area along with it. And also it's very easy to get to because it's very close to the beach. I probably could have gone RCZM here, but you'll notice, just because I was going to be taking a little bit of rocket fire, I decided to stick with the heavies and drop them first. So we let the heavies get out front of everybody else. Made sure to drop one boat of rifles over here to take fire from these sorts of single hit towers. So they specifically were sent over to that side. You'll notice that flag was a little bit off to the side and specifically sent over there to get shot at by those big guns, because that's what rifles are good at. And then in here we're just, I mean, he's got everything clustered up and we're shocking. And yeah, pretty easy day. So again, no ice bases, very, very easy. Now we'll move on. Pista K, who is has got 3 ice, 1 of them boosting, and we went with HRCZM. Now, when the range towers are to the front of the base, as I said in that one case, and they're easy to get to, that will often be a factor in whether or not I want to use the heavies. In this case, the range towers are to the back of the base. He's allowing me to destroy these 2 together. I get the extra bonus of being able to barrage each one and get the crossover damage. And I'm going to take this one out too, because I can get extra GBE with the things next to it. There was a resource building there, and then we've got this mortar. Now these 2 range towers are left, and I do have a long walk, but they actually don't range the walk. So those were not the deciding factor here to include heavies in this hit. The deciding factor was back here. My hit is, I'm going to gather up GBE over here because he's just giving it to me for free, so why not? And then go up. Never fails. Never fails. If it's not one phone, it's the other phone. Anyway, whatever. So my walk is going to take me up here through the trees, just a nice little stroll through the forest. And my hit is going to begin from here, this direction. So the beginning of my hit, I'm going to be facing a machine gun and a mortar, but my shocks are going to have to be back here, distracting those towers. So I'm really going to have to absorb fire from those 2 towers here. And that's why I want heavies on board for this hit, because I want them to, they'll step out front and they'll get chewed up a little bit. This just worked out beautifully. Regroup and then gather up the iron storage there. My critters down here got the resource building, or the economy building that was there, and now we can put this in regular speed. So the heavies step out front here, and between the heavies and the critters, the machine gun and the mortar end up being completely distracted. And meanwhile, I have my shocks are pretty much saved for those 2 towers over there in the corner. Over here, there is a Doom cannon, which does splash damage, and we're just distracting that with critters. So that was a critter swarm. We've got some passive critters going out, and that's mainly what I'm keeping an eye on in this hit, is the shock over here, and then the passive critters over here, just making sure that, and now we've got some heavies going that direction. Just trying to make sure that my troops don't come under fire from things that I don't want them to come under fire from. And I mean, this is just as easy as it could be. Little walk through the woods, and a bit of shocking, and some critters, and then we gather up here in the HQ, and there's nothing but single hitters here left to range me. Not a great base design there, so, well, I mean, but there are a lot of bad base designs out there, so no, kudos to me for beating the guy, but it's not just, it was the right strategy, but also, you know, there are bad base designs all over the place in this game. So, you know, take advantage if you know how. So then we have Chinese Squiggles. And Chinese Squiggles we did, he has 2 ice, not boosting, we did with straight RCZM. Because, again, these 2 things are close to the beach and can be shocked easily along with that blaster. And everything else up on the beach, you've got one-hitters, booms, and snipers. There's a doom, but we're going to throw critters out anyway because we need to clear some of these mines. He's put a shock mine in there. I always love shock mines. Are great for critters because then you can keep the critters exactly where you want them. So 8 GBE for the first batch of critters and 8 GBE for the first batch of Everspark's critter swarm, and then a second batch of critters once the mines are clear to start distracting things. And by the time, I mean, those critters are still going right there, and we're pretty well into this hit. We're already up to the towers that I mainly need to clear out. So now we can shock over here while the blaster dies because there are some critters to distract it, and then just regroup. Nice easy hit. Not much more to say there. I don't even think we bother with the shield on this guy because I've got so many troops over here. There's not a whole lot to range them, and that's just a bunch of damage. Look at all over. There's still a bunch of rifles left. There are a few critters going out. Oh, and at the end, I like to do a few. You'll notice that Everspark is dead there. I threw an artillery on her at the end. I like to do little things at the end of my attacks just to sort of mess with the other person, if they happen to watch and if they happen to notice. Just because I'm an ass, I guess. So, finally, we had switched to HRCZM at the beginning of this video, and we're going to try a live hit on a dude that I already scouted. He's a 2-2, 2 ice, both boosted. And I decided HRCZM would be the way to go here. And a couple reasons for that. His base is really spread out, and intelligently, he has put his rocket launchers very far from each other. Things cannot be shocked together. Possibly, you could possibly get those 2 towers together, but I don't think so, and if you do, good luck repeating it because that's a miracle shock. Which means we're going to be taking fire from something along the course of this attack. Additionally, he has a flamethrower right on the beach and a mortar behind it, so we would be dropping the heavy right about here to let it chew up the fire from all of those different things while we get this attack going. The plan is going to be to remove these 2 rocket launchers because A, they have less health than the shock launcher, so they will go down more easily. That's what she's... never mind. Anyway, so they should go down more easily, and then I can start dropping GBE on the shock launcher through the course of the attack. The shock launcher also has less range than the 2 rocket launchers, so I have longer to deal with it, and the attack is going to proceed from the left. Not really worried about the blaster. RCZM is, I mean, with the critters and the rifles, blasters don't really become too much of a factor. So I always try to take the opportunity to get these extra little bits of GBE where I can. Everyone, I mean, it's a really basic thing, but not like the Not something that would end an attack per se, but why not? If the person is giving you freebies, you take your freebies. So we've got 94 GBE after that goes down, and we're going to drop a little bit over here. Again, more free GBE, so thank you. I was hoping, once clearing that, I was hoping the back corner of the shock would touch the wood storage there, but no such luck. Yeah, we're going to throw at least one more on that. We might be able to remove this entirely, but don't really have to. So let's get started over here. As I said, drop the heavies. Rifle, rifle, everyone else behind them. Shocking there. Going to get some critters going out that way, and that should help distract the shock launcher. And we're going to be coming in from the left. Let's get some critters out going that way. Shocking there again. Bunch of GBE left over, so let's go ahead and get rid of the rear shock launcher. And the one thing about this strategy, I will say, it's a bit like herding cats. And I think that might be why some people don't like it, because your eyes are just all over the place, trying to pay attention to what's going on. Heavies are all dead, but we don't really need them anymore at this point. So let's get way back into the corner here. Keep the critters going out. They'll have jobs to do somewhere. Ooh, one of the cryos just stepped on a boom mine. It didn't work out well for her. Alright, so just building up some GBE here. If need be, you know, at this point in an attack, I start throwing med kits. You know, if my troops are walking up to a machine gun, or if they're walking up to, as they are right now. So we're walking into the range of a machine gun, so let's try to keep some of the rifles alive through that. Oh, nope, that was a mistake. We need the blaster to go down, so let's get that. And then we should have enough troops, if we don't go stepping on a bunch of mines and dying, to just step back away from this HQ and sit there and burn on it. And have a minute left. Hopefully between the critters and the rifles that we have left, we should just be able to chew through this shield. There are 2 boom cannons working, and that does worry me a little bit, but looks like we have plenty of time here. I mean, what are we dealing with here for Zuka? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like, and this might not quite go. But it will come close either way. Do. So close. So close. Anyway. Not terrible. I mean, obviously the strategy works. Could have gotten there with a few more troops, maybe. I'll have to think about how I'm going to modify that to approach this guy, but I am definitely a fan of that approach on this player. Thinking about maybe ignoring the shield and coming in from this side. I mean, there is a bunch of free GBE over here. I mean, we're getting a little on the long side, but why don't we go ahead and try it? So in that case, I would want to remove this. Probably still this. This one we can work to. We'll let the heavies take some fire, probably from those 2. Let's go ahead and try that. I mean, we could just try going back the other way and just sort of tightening up around that shock launcher, well, that shock launcher right there. But nothing wrong with trying a different approach. And we'll take the free GB over there. We'll make sure that goes away. Oh, did that not drop? Really? So we're looking at, let's see. Tell you what, we're going to change plans here. I'm going to leave the shock launcher, or shock launcher and rocket launcher on the right. We're going to go after this rocket. A, it has lower health, so it will go down faster than the shock launcher. B, again with the shock launcher, less of a concern. Less of a concern because it has less range, and also it doesn't do damage. It stops me from doing damage, and that is kind of a pain in the butt, but it doesn't do damage itself. And we're ignoring the shock launcher for now because we can. Get the med kit out early. Because with the critters that we've got going here, actually don't need to be doing anything with the shock launcher yet. And also keeping an eye on the cost of things. So it was cheaper in that case to use the critter swarm than it was to use this, but we will now use this. Did I miss the rocket? I believe I did. Well, let's hurry up and get that down because that's going to be an issue. Alright, so critters over there for the blaster. We still have some heavies out front, so they can, hopefully, we're going to just get the shock launcher. Never fails. And the thing is, I turned off Do Not Disturb because I got a phone call late last night. Well, no, I missed a phone call that I should have gotten, and that was kind of embarrassing. Alright, so we're in much better shape here, going with this side. Lots of troops still left, still got critters going. We're going to be able to get one of his shields over here. Really just a boom cannon to worry about. The machine gun should not be an issue. And lots more troops. We had, what, 10 Zukas last time? And we've got easily 2.5 times that. Plus we've got a heavy to distract the mortar. Look at him. He is just in a perfect spot. We're going to call him Johnny, because he is Johnny on the spot right now. And that's it. There's nothing left to do here, except for this. Boom. Aww. So, you know, right troops, right place. Either side was good, but one side was better, and it's kind of just a question of your preference. But anyway, so yeah, definitely recommend these approaches. Honestly, the fail was relatively rare. So, and what were these? Were these the Gren? Yeah, this, like I said, this is the guy I tried with the Grens, and that didn't work. So the fails with RCZM, and these are all player bases too, are pretty few and far between, and this is in a not dominant tribe cycle, getting back to the beginning of the video. So, great strategy. Tiny modifications to make it work. One bow to heavy, one bow to rifle, left side, right side, which towers you decide to bark. But one of my favorites, and apparently I'm good at it. I don't know what to... people don't like it because they say it's like herding cats. I have heard that before. A long time ago, I used to use primarily configuration that looked something... It was basically heavy Zuka, but with Scorchers mixed in, and that was like the only thing that I used for a long time because I didn't know better. That was dumb of me. That was before I started to try new things, but I had other people try it because I liked it at the time. It does have some uses, I'm not gonna lie. It's not a terrible strategy, but you gotta have more than one in your pocket, and then I didn't. And I had some other people try that strategy, heavy Zuka with the Scorchers, and they didn't like it either because same reason. They said it was like herding cats. You kind of have to get used to having your eyes all over the place, and instead of really focusing on your troops, you're looking at the towers that are coming up. Kind of like keep a soft focus on your troops. They're sort of in the perimeter of your vision, and instead you're mainly focused on the mines and towers that are in your way, and again, watching down the corner of your screen, watching your GBE costs to see what is going to be your most economical means of dealing with the mines and towers that are in your way. So you're kind of all over the screen with this strategy, but you know, well, it's definitely worth practice. Anyway, hope you like the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. I'm Yalek, and I'm out. Apparently I have some messages to respond to, so have a great day.